Hey everyone! Welcome back to Forked. Today we're going to build a minimal URL shortener in C using SQLite. We'll keep it simple and beginner-friendly. I'll walk you through every line of code, explain what's happening, and by the end you'll have a small command line program that can shorten a URL into a small code and expand that code back into the original URL. We'll also store everything in a SQLite database, so the data doesn't disappear when the program exits. Let's jump into the code. At the top, we have our includes. Then we define two constants. Max URL len for the maximum length of a URL we'll accept. I set it to 2048, which is a common maximum URL length. Shortcode len for the length of our shortcode. We're using 7 characters, including the null terminator. That means the actual code will be 6 characters long, and the 7th character is /0 to end the string. Next, we create a simple struct called Shortener. This just wraps a pointer to the SQLite database. We'll pass this around instead of passing the raw SQLite 3 everywhere. That keeps our function signatures clean and a bit more readable. Then we have a string that containing lowercase letters, uppercase letters, and digits. We'll randomly pick characters from this string to generate our shortcodes. This function generates a random shortcode. It takes a buffer, which is where we'll store the generated code. We loop from 0 to shortcode length -2. Why -1? Because the last character is reserved for the null terminator /0, which ends the string in C. Inside the loop, rand modulus 62 gives us a random number between 0 and 61. We use that as an index into our string. So buff ith index becomes one random character from our string. After the loop, we set buff short code length -1 equals /0. That makes sure our code is a proper C string. Now we set up the database. The function initDB takes a pointer to our shortener struct and a DB path, which is the file name for the SQLite database, like urls.db. First we call SQLite 3 open. If it fails, we print an error and return 1 to signal failure. Then we define a SQL string that creates a table if it doesn't already exist. We run this SQL with SQLite 3 execute function. If there's an error, we print it and return 1. If everything is okay, we return 0. So this function basically ensures our database file exists and has the right table. All right, now let's talk about the most important part of our program, the shorten function. This is the function that actually takes a long URL and returns a short, unique code for it. It accepts 2 things. First, our shortener structure that holds the database connection, and second, the original URL that we want to shorten. The function starts by creating a small character buffer where we'll store the generated code and a database statement object that we'll use to send queries to SQLite. The first step is to make sure that every code we generate is unique. To do that, we use a simple loop. It tries up to 10 times to generate a random code. Each time, it calls our code generation function that makes a random 6-character string from letters and numbers. After generating one, we ask the database, "Hey, does this code already exist in the table?" We do this by preparing a small query that checks for a matching code. If the database says, "No rows found," that means the code is new and unique. We then break out of the loop and continue. Once we have a fresh, unused code, we're ready to store it. Now we prepare another query. This time, it's an insert command. It says, "Insert into the table called URLs a new row with 3 things: the short code, the original URL, and the current time." For the time, we use the system clock to get the current Unix timestamp, which just counts how many seconds have passed since January 1st, 1970. When we run this command successfully, the new shortcode and the original URL get saved inside our SQLite database file. Finally, the function returns the shortcode back to the main program so the user can see and copy it. If at any point something goes wrong, like if the database fails or the query has an error, then the function simply returns nothing, which our main program checks later to show an error message. So in simple words, the shorten function does 4 key things: generate a random shortcode, check if it's unique, save it into the database along with the URL, give the new shortcode back to the user. Now let's take a look at the expand function. This is basically the reverse of shorten. Instead of turning a URL into a shortcode, this one takes a shortcode and looks up the original URL stored in the database. Here's how it works. First, we prepare a simple database query that says, select the URL from the table where the code matches the one the user entered. We send that query to SQLite and attach the shortcode the user provided. If the database finds a matching row, we pull out the URL from that row and copy it into a string. Then we clean up the database statement to free resources and return that URL back to the main program. Next up is the cleanup function. This one is super short and simple, but really important. All it does is check if our database is open, and if it is, it closes it properly. This ensures we don't leave any open connections or memory leaks behind when our program ends. Think of it like turning off the lights before leaving a room. Just good housekeeping. Now let's look at the main function. This is the part that actually runs the whole program and interacts with the user. We start by setting up the random number generator. This makes sure every time we run the program, our generated shortcodes are different. Then we create a shortener object and call our database initialization function. This sets up our SQLite database file, creates the table if it doesn't exist, and makes everything ready for storing URLs. If something goes wrong while opening the database, the program exits early with an error. Once the database is ready, we show a simple message to the user that explains the available commands: shorten, expand, and quit. Then comes the main loop. This is where we keep waiting for the user to type a command. Every time the user types something, we check what it is. If they type quit, we just exit the loop and close the program. If they type shorten followed by a URL, we call our shorten function. If it works, we print out the new shortcode. If something goes wrong, we print an error message instead. If the user types expand followed by a shortcode, we call the expand function. If that code exists, we print out the original full URL. Otherwise, we let them know the code wasn't found. And if the user types any command we don't recognize, we simply print a friendly message saying, unknown command. The loop keeps running until the user types quit. When that happens, we call our cleanup function to safely close the database, and then the program ends. So overall, the main function handles all the user input, connects the database functions together, and manages the entire interaction flow. And that's it. We've just built a complete minimal URL shortener in pure C using SQLite. We learned how to generate random shortcodes, save URLs inside a local database, look them up later, and handle everything through a clean and simple command line interface. This little project shows how powerful C can be even for small utilities like this one. It combines random generation, database storage, and user interaction, all in under a couple hundred lines of code. If you wanted to take this further, you could turn it into a web-based tool using a lightweight HTTP server in C, or maybe add features like statistics, expiration dates, or click tracking. But for now, we've built a fully working minimal URL shortener. And that's awesome. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.